Shackleton's Endurance, trapped at the edge of the world. It is 1914. Commander Sir Ernest Shackleton and his 28 men set sail for one of the most dangerous places on Earth, Antarctica. As their ship presses into the Southern Ocean, fierce gales lash the hull.
Watch the ice.
Ice forms along the bow as towering icebergs slam into the ship, each collision a grim warning of what lies ahead. But nothing can stop them. They're determined to make history, to attempt a feat no one has ever achieved, crossing Antarctica on foot. This is a land of endless ice, merciless storms, temperatures plunging to 50 degrees Celsius, and months of total darkness. Armed with little more than sled dogs, wooden sledges, and sheer determination, they push forward. A final warning. After 119 days at sea, having left Plymouth, England on August 8, 1914, Endurance arrives at South Georgia Island on November 5th for repairs and supplies. This will be their last contact with civilization. The crew is greeted warmly, but seasoned Norwegian whalers caution them. The ice is the heaviest we've ever seen. Heading south now would be madness. Your ship will be trapped and crushed. Shackleton listens, but the Antarctic summer is fleeting. His backers are watching, and he is determined not to let another explorer claim the glory. On December 5th, 1914, he gives the order, we sail south.
We sail south.
Endurance slips away from safety, heading straight into the jaws of Antarctica. Trapped in the ice. At first, progress is slow but steady. Ice presses in, sometimes trapping the ship for hours until the engines finally break free. Shackleton reassures his men.
Keep pressing on, Spursine. It's just the normal Antarctic.
By mid-January 1915, the ice closes in. On January 18th, Endurance comes to a stop. Just 180 kilometers from their destination, the ship is trapped. The crew fights back. They hack at the ice with saws and pickaxes until their hands are raw and bleeding. Days stretch into weeks, weeks into months, yet the ship will not budge. Winter is coming, the Antarctic winter. With months of total darkness, temperatures that freeze breath in midair, and blizzards that could kill a man in minutes. There will be no rescue. They are on their own. Life aboard a frozen ship. Shackleton orders the men to winter aboard Endurance.
We'll be spending the winter inside the Endurance clays until spring.
To keep spirits high, he enforces strict routines. Men scrub the decks, exercise the sled dogs, and even play football on the ice. At night, they read from Punch magazine, jokingly calling their frozen home the Ritz. They cling to one fragile hope. When some summer returns, the ice will melt and Endurance will be free. But winter deepens and the ice begins to crush the ship. The timbers twist as if alive. Frank Hurley, the expedition photographer, writes that Endurance groaned as if a giant hand were wringing her dry. Cracks spread across the hull. The ice slowly squeezes the ship, threatening to crush it to death. Trapped on a drifting slab of ice, carried helplessly by currents into the unknown, each day pushes them further from the world. The loss of Endurance. On October 24th, 1915, after 9 months trapped, a deafening crack shatters the silence. Freezing water surges into the ship. The men scramble with pumps and blankets, but the water rises relentlessly. 3 days later, on October 27th, Shackleton gives the order every captain dreads. Abandon ship.
Abandon ship.
The crew salvages essentials, lifeboats, rations and tools, and sets up ocean camp just 180 meters from the sinking vessel. The dream of crossing Antarctica is gone. Now survival is the only goal. struggle for survival. The first night without endurance, the men huddle together for warmth. The cold bites through clothes and bones. Some lie awake for hours, some pray. All are aware that their only home is gone. Shackleton inventories their supplies: pemmican, dried meat, biscuits, sugar, tea, cocoa flour, dried milk, salt, jam, and cheese, enough to last 5 weeks if rationed carefully. 2 days later, realizing supplies are dwindling too fast, Shackleton makes a painful decision. The expedition's dogs and the ship's cat, Mrs. Chippy, must be killed to conserve food. The crew is devastated. Some keep collars and tags as mementos. Hurley photographs the final farewell. Hunting penguins and seals becomes their lifeline. They use blubber for fuel. Shackleton imposes strict rationing, keeps the men busy with chores, washing, and even shaving in ice-cold water, believing a clean face keeps a clear mind. By November 21st, 1915, the ice finally destroys the ship. Endurance groans, twists, and plunges beneath the frozen sea. Shackleton turns to his men. She's gone, boys. They hold a small funeral.
The ship and stores have gone, now we must go on.
Reading Bible verses and lowering the Union Jack into the ice. Drifting on the ice. The men remain on the drifting ice. Rationing scraps of food. Hunting seals and penguins becomes harder each day. Desperation grows. By March 1916, they are forced to eat raw, frozen meat and drink seal blood to survive. Fuel for cooking is gone. They melt ice using body heat, extract every ounce of grease from bones, and ration one ship's biscuit per day. Hunger drives hallucinations. Some imagine the smell of bacon, whisper recipes, or dream of warm meals. But Shackleton never wavers, reminding them, so long as we are alive, there is hope. On April 8, 1916, the ice beneath their camp splits. Shackleton is briefly separated from the men. But a lifeboat rescues him. The ice is breaking apart faster than ever. At daybreak on April 9th, he orders into the boats. Now, the journey to Elephant Island. They launch 3 lifeboats. Shackleton's goal is survival. Reach land anywhere with food or shelter. First, they aim for King George Island, then Deception Island, about 200 kilometers away. The Southern Ocean is merciless. Freezing waves crash over the boats. Hands and beards freeze stiff in the icy wind. Men shiver, sleep only in snatches, and eat scraps of pemmican and melted ice. After 7 days, they spot birds overhead. Land is near. On April 15, 1916, they reach Elephant Island. After 497 days adrift, they finally reach solid ground. Many are too weak to move, some collapse. An 18-year-old seaman suffers frostbite. Even the strongest men are barely alive. They make camp, care for the weak, share the little food left, and rest. Shackleton studies maps by lantern light, planning their next move. The voyage to South Georgia. Shackleton identifies South Georgia Island, 1,300 kilometers away, as their only hope. Only 5 of the strongest men can make the journey. On April 24th, 1916, Shackleton, Frank Worsley, and Tom Crean set off in the 22-foot lifeboat, James Caird. Ahead lies the most dangerous stretch of ocean on Earth. Waves tower 40-50 feet, capable of crushing steel. Hurricane-force winds lash the boat. Hands and beards freeze. Ice coats the deck. Navigation is limited to just 4 hours of daylight per day. After 17 grueling days, they reach South Georgia on May 10, 1916. Mountains replace waves, but they land on the wrong side, hundreds of kilometers from the whaling stations. The very next day, Shackleton sends Frank Hurley along with a few Norwegian sailors to King Haakon Bay to rescue 3 men left behind. Just 3 days later, Shackleton begins organizing a rescue mission for the 22 men still stranded on Elephant Island. His first attempt, on May 23rd aboard the Southern Sky, is blocked by heavy pack ice. Undeterred, he tries again with the Uruguay, but thick ice makes the island unreachable. In July, a third attempt aboard the schooner Emma is halted by fierce storms and engine trouble. Still refusing to give up, Shackleton secures the Chilean Navy tug Yelcho, commanded by Captain Luis Pardo. They set sail on August 25th, 1916. This time the weather clears just long enough. The rescue of Elephant Island. On August 30th, 1916, Shackleton peers through his binoculars and freezes. In the distance, on Elephant Island, a flicker of life appears against the white shore. His heart pounds. Could it really be them? When Shackleton left Elephant Island in April, he had already made one of the hardest decisions of his life. He left Frank Wild in command. Wild, Shackleton's loyal second-in-command, was steady, disciplined, and unshakably calm under pressure. Shackleton knew that if anyone could keep the men alive, it was him. Under Wild's leadership, the 22 stranded men endured the impossible. Their home is 2 overturned lifeboats, sealed with canvas and packed with snow to block the wind. Inside, it is dark, wet and suffocating. Smoke from blubber fires fills the air until eyes burn and lungs ache. Yet, half-jokingly, they call it the snuggery. Their meals never change. Penguin stew and seal meat, morning, noon and night. For vitamins, they boil penguin skin and liver. On one occasion, they save a small piece of blubber as a birthday cake. The Antarctic winter shows no mercy. The youngest, Percy Blackboar, suffers severe frostbite. His feet blacken, infection sets in, and gangrene spreads. In that smoky, frozen shelter with no anesthesia and only a knife and a sip of brandy, the men perform surgery. Against all odds, Blackboar survives. Hope returns. Every morning, Frank Wild keeps hope alive. He steps into the freezing dawn, looks to the horizon and calls, "Pack up, boys, the boss may come today." The men gather their gear, ready to leave, but the boss never comes. Days stretch into weeks, weeks into months. By August, most have stopped believing. The idea that Shackleton might still be alive begins to fade. After waiting for 4 months, the men prepare to leave Elephant Island, setting out on a desperate voyage toward Deception Island, without their leader, unsure if they will ever see home again. But just as they are about to depart, a shout pierces the air. A ship! A ship is coming. The men stumble outside, shielding their eyes from sun and snow glare. For a moment, no one moves, and there, standing on the deck, is Ernest Shackleton. For a heartbeat, the world stops. They stare, unable to move or speak. It feels impossible. A ghost returned from the dead. Shackleton, too, stands frozen, staring at the faces he thought he might never see again. Every man is alive. A cheer breaks the silence, rough, choked, and full of tears. Some laugh, others fall to their knees and weep. Shackleton's eyes glisten as he whispers, "All of them are safe." That day, August 30th, 1916, all 22 men are rescued. Not a single life is lost. Weeks later, when they reach Punta Arenas, Chile, the world that had long mourned them rises to its feet. The lost men of Antarctica have returned. No medals, no riches, no glory, just quiet relief. After nearly 2 years trapped in the most merciless place on Earth, Shackleton has kept his promise. Every man came home, the forgotten Ross Sea Party. But the story does not end here. Another group of Shackleton's men, the Ross Sea Party, faced a different, often forgotten ordeal. Their task was to lay supply depots across the Ross ice shelf, so Shackleton's team could survive the final march of the crossing. Soon after landing, fate turns cruel. Their ship, the Aurora, is ripped from its moorings by a violent storm, leaving the men marooned on the ice. Alone, starving, and forgotten, they refuse to surrender. Dressed in rags and bleeding from frostbite, they drag their sledges for hundreds of miles through blizzards and darkness. Still, they believe Shackleton will appear on the horizon. Three of them never make it home. Among them is their leader and his mechanic, Macintosh, swallowed by a storm just weeks before rescue arrived. They never learned that Shackleton's crossing had failed, and the depots they had laid would never be used. Their story is the other half of endurance, a silent testament to the human spirit, of men who gave everything for a dream that never came true.